Good afternoon, students. Our topic for today is types of questions. Most of you think that it is difficult to put questions correctly, but I prepared a presentation for you where there are formulas how to put questions. It is like a mathematics. You should look at these schemes and put questions according to them. Well, let us start. You know that in English there are 5 types of direct questions. Direct questions and 5 types. The first type is general. The other name for them are yes-no question. Why? Because we put the question to the whole sentence and the answer is yes or no. The next type of question is alternative. I put it the second because it starts as the general question with auxiliary verb, and only then you choose what choice to suggest. Выбор. Alternative question means выбор. The next type of question is special. Special question is put to the secondary parts of the sentence. Второстепенные члены предложения. Why it is named special? Because there are interrogative pronouns which are put in the beginning of the sentence. The next question is disjunctive. Disjunctive or tag question с хвостиком. But the official name is disjunctive, разделительный. It has a tail, that is why it is named tag question. And the last type of question is question to the subject. So you know what types of questions are in English, and we shall speak about each of them. We start with general question. Look at the scheme. General question starts with auxiliary verb, вспомогательный глагол. Then goes a subject, подлежащее. Then goes a notional verb, смысловой глагол. And then goes secondary parts. It is object, дополнение, or adverbial modifiers, обстоятельства. So you see at the scheme, and according to this scheme, you may put a general question to any sentence. Let's look. We start with the verb to be. You remember that the verb to be in English has its own position. It is a strong verb and it does not need an auxiliary verb. That is why we put it on the first place itself. So you see the sentence. There is a red apple on the table. We take the verb and put it on the first place. Is there a red apple on the table? And the answer, yes, there is, or no, there isn't. The question is answered. Kate can buy red apples. You see, there are 2 verbs, and modal verb can plays a role of auxiliary verb. We put it on the first place. Look here. Can Kate buy red apples? The answer, yes, Kate or she, possible both words. Can or no, she can't. Then we speak about present simple. Kate often buys green apples. Buys is the only verb in the sentence. That is why we need an auxiliary verb. Buys is the third person. That is why we take an auxiliary verb, does. And we have such a scheme. Does Kate buy green apples? The answer, yes, she or Kate does. No, she doesn't. This sentence is in past simple. Kate bought green apples last week. In past simple, the auxiliary verb is did. Did Kate buy green apples last week? And the answer is in past simple, yes, she did. No, she didn't. If we have a sentence in future simple, in future simple there are two verbs, will, buy, and auxiliary verb of future, will, is used as an auxiliary verb for putting a question. Will Kate buy red apples tomorrow? Yes, she will. No, she will not. Or, in short, won't. Look here, won't. Then goes present continuous. In present continuous we have two verbs. Auxiliary verb to be and a notional verb with in ending. And we use auxiliary verb to put a question. Is Kate buying red apples now? Yes, she is. No, she isn't. Here is past continuous. In past continuous, auxiliary verb stands in past form, but we know that we may use it to put a question. Kate was buying red apples at 3 p.m. yesterday. Was she buying red apples at 3 p.m. yesterday? Yes, she was. No, she wasn't. And here we have present perfect. In perfect, we have auxiliary verb have or has. This sentence is in the with the third person, Kate, she. That is why we use auxiliary verb has. And we use it to put a question. Has Kate just bought red apples? Yes, she has. No, she hasn't. So you see, we look through many questions in different tenses. And now is the next type of question, alternative question. You see, alternative question starts with auxiliary verb as well as general question. Then goes a subject, and this type of question I offer you to put alternative question to the subject. You see one subject and the second, the choice of subjects. Then goes a notional verb and then secondary parts. But we may put alternative question to any part of the sentence. Here you see the scheme of putting alternative question to the notional verb the first and then the second. And here you can see the variation of alternative question. It is a question to the secondary parts. Look here, but it starts with auxiliary verb, then goes a subject, notional verb, and then variation of secondary parts. Does Kate live in the city or in the country? So you see the variation of places of living. Here are the examples for you to understand how to put alternative questions. You see, we start with the verb to be, and the sentence is the same. there is a red apple on the table. And then we ask about variations. Is there a red or a green apple on the table? We ask a question we give a choice to a subject. Is there a red apple or a lemon on the table? It is a variation of the subject. Is there a red apple on the table or on the shelf? It is a variation to the secondary part. Kate can buy red apples. There is a modal verb which is used as an auxiliary. Can Kate or Bob buy red apples? The variation Kate or Bob is a variation of a subject. Can Kate buy or bring red apples? And can Kate buy red apples or cherries? So you see the variations. Then we speak about present simple. In present simple, we use an auxiliary verb does. Does Kate or Bob buy green apples? Does Kate buy green or red apples? Does Kate buy red apples or cherries? And here past simple, and you see the sentences are just the same, but it is past simple, and we use did as an auxiliary verb. Did Kate or Bob buy green apples last week? And so on. Here is continue. We are continuing. We continue. Yes, we continue. And here future simple. And here we start with auxiliary verb will. Will Kate or Bob buy red apples tomorrow? And then you see the variations of alternative question. Here present continuous, and we start with is. And the forms of verbs are the same. Here we have past continuous. You see the variation of alternative question. And here we have present perfect, which start with has. Has Kate or Bob bought red apples? And so on. So you see, the sentences are the same, but the verbs, the form of verbs, and so the tense of verbs is changing. The next question is disjunctive, разделительный, or tag. It starts with a subject. We don't put auxiliary verb on the first place. We put it only in the tail. So we write the affirmative sentence. It starts with object, then goes notional verb, and then goes secondary parts. After that, comma, and only after that we put an auxiliary verb. But you should remember, if the sentence is affirmative, утвердительное, the tail is negative, not. And instead of a noun, you should put personal pronouns. I, he, she, it, you, they. Let us look at the questions. So, you see, it is an affirmative sentence. You are a student, aren't you? Ты студент, не так ли? You aren't a student, are you? If the sentence is negative, the tag is affirmative. You see, here aren't, here are. Kate lives in Voronezh. Doesn't she? Or does not, yes? Affirmative, and the tail is negative. Kate doesn't live in Voronezh. Negative, the tail is affirmative. Does she? Boys are playing now, are not they? So, negative tail. Boys are not playing now, are they? Mom cooked tasty salad. It is an affirmative sentence, and the tail is negative, didn't she? Mom didn't cook tasty salad. Negative, the tail is affirmative, did she? Girls have seen him. It is present perfect, and the tail is negative, haven't they? You see, girls, they. In the tail, you use only personal pronouns. Girls haven't seen him, have they? So this was disjunctive question. The next question is special. We name it special because it starts with special interrogative pronouns. Do you remember them? What, что, либо какой. Where, где. Why, почему или зачем. When, когда. Which, который. Whose, чей. Whom, кого. How, как. How long, как долго. How much and how many, сколько. You remember that how much we use with uncountable nouns and how many with countable nouns. After interrogative pronoun goes auxiliary verb. That is the mistake which a lot of students do. Auxiliary verb, you should not miss it. You should not lose it. You should put it after the interrogative pronoun. Then goes subject and then notional verb. You see that special question is put to the secondary parts of the sentence. Второстепенные члены. Now let us look at the examples. There is a red apple on the table. Where is there a red apple? We don't write on the table in the question because it is an answer. What apple is there on the table? Какое яблоко? Kate can buy red apples. What can Kate buy? Where can Kate buy red apples? You see, what, where, when, and then goes auxiliary verb. And after that goes a subject. Kate often buys green apples. How often? Как часто? Does Kate buy green apples? You see, how often? And then goes auxiliary verb. Don't miss it. Why does Kate often buy green apples? Kate bought green apples. Then, what apples did Kate buy? Kate will buy red apples tomorrow. It is future simple. When will Kate buy? When, you see, when, then goes auxiliary verb. What apples will Kate buy? Kate is buying, present continuous. Why is Kate buying red apples? What apples is Kate buying? Kate was buying, you see, the sentences are very similar. only forms of the verb is changing. And the last, Kate has just bought, where, and has Kate just bought? Yes, and what has she just bought? The next and the last type of direct question is question to the subject. What should you remember? There are only two interrogative pronouns. Who, if it is a person or an alive subject, and what, if it is not alive. Then you see, goes an auxiliary verb in brackets. You see the brackets. Why? If we have auxiliary verb in the sentence, you will use it. But if we don't, you won't use it. I go to school. There is only one verb. And we don't have an auxiliary verb in the sentence. That is why instead of a subject, we put who. But who means the third person. That is why not go, but goes to school. Who went to school yesterday? Instead of I, who. It is past simple, and the verb go get the form of past simple went. And future simple, who instead of I will go to school. That is auxiliary verb in the sentence I will go to school tomorrow. And you see, it is in the interrogative sentence. What happened? Что случилось? Who is speaking? It is present continuous. And you see, instead of a subject, there is who. And then you repeat the question. Who has done this task? There is an auxiliary verb. I have done this task. Who has done this task? Has, because the who is the third person. Well, we have spoken about 5 types of direct questions in English. You are acquainted with the scheme and with a lot of examples. If you don't remember anything, you may look through this presentation. The link address will be given to you. And your home task, according to the information, according to the theoretical material, will be the following. Page 80, exercise 1.5.1, 5.2 and 5.3. That's all for today. Goodbye.